Welcome. My name is John C. Worthington, and this is part 20 of my spirit release about muscle testing of John's. I recommend that you listen to this spirit release about muscle testing of John's from the very start all the way through the end as it was released to gain the very greatest understanding and pure truth from it. Quick pure truth or partial pure truth or canned pure truth or 3 or 10 minute pure truth, I myself have never found to actually be pure truth, or at least only in very limited, extremely limited, and very rare situations. Although I ask you to listen to this from the start to the beginning, I also, as independence is very important to me, and as today is the 4th of July, Americans' Independence Day, I recommend that you freely choose to do what you freely choose to do for liberty and justice for us all. I also dedicate this spirit release to the second coming of America's and humanity's Independence Day, as this spirit release is scientifically measurable as being the beginning of the creation of the second coming of America's and humanity's Independence Day. Accurately, muscle test me accurately on it. This is a spirit release, which just means that anytime I use the words I, me, mine, myself, or my, it's John, the human being, reciting that for my spirit. And so it's not John, the human being, saying that for myself, it's me just reciting it for my spirit. My spirit is one speaking within this release. This part starts on May 10th, 2014 at 1:49 p.m. Muscle testing is simple to accurately start to begin to learn how to muscle test accurately within most any still free breathing human situation in which you begin to start to practice muscle testing accurately. Because muscle testing is simple to accurately start to begin to learn just what exactly scientifically measures as living, existing, and breathing within human beings and humanity as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, as accurately scientifically muscle tested as a measurable muscle strength measurement when accurately muscle tested, as well as beginning to start to learn just what exactly scientifically measures as existing, living, and breathing within human beings and humanity as human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness, as accurately scientifically muscle tested as a measured muscle weakness measurement when accurately muscle tested. For muscle testing is simple to accurately start to begin to learn if you or any other still free breathing human being right here and right now begins to start to accurately try muscle testing for yourself and your family and your community and your nation and your planet and our universe. As muscle testing is simple to accurately start to begin to learn when you or any other still free breathing human being simply desires to accurately and truthfully scientifically measure the actual and factual strength of any still free breathing human situation. Such as if this spirit release about muscle testing is human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, as accurately muscle tested as an accurately measured muscle strength measurement. Or if this spirit release of the all of health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, who is also the universal all of me, the individual spirit, as well as the individual all of John's and the alls and each and every other living form's universal spirit, who is also your and every single other still free breathing human being's individual universal spirit, is human disease, illusion, falsehood, or weakness as accurately muscle tested as a accurately measured muscle weakness measurement. Since muscle testing is simple to actually start to begin to learn by any still free breathing human being, including you, who right here and right now begins to start to actually try muscle testing for yourself, your family, your community, your nation, your planet, and our universe. Just exactly what lives, exists, and breathes as scientifically measurable, empirically verifiable, double-blinded, repeatable human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength within pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth as absolute freedom and whole pure truth that will always muscle test as a measured strength when accurately muscle tested. But just what exactly exists, lives, and breathes as scientifically measurable, empirically verifiable, double-blinded, repeatable human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness within falsehood, illusion, and illusion, falsehood as fractured illusion and partial pure truth that will always muscle test as a measured muscle test as measured weakness when accurately muscle tested within absolute freedom and whole pure truth, and when accurately muscle tested within your still free breathing, single solitary, one and only, always changing, never the same, momentary instant of the presently present now, that I, the universal spirit of the individual all, and the individual spirit of the universal all, and the universal all of the individual spirit, and the individual all of the universal spirit, who just happens thus to be also the individual spirit of John, and you, and each and every other still free breathing human being, and the universal spirit of humanity must always remain living, existing, and breathing within as the all of health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, living, existing, and breathing within pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth, living, existing, and breathing as absolute freedom and whole pure truth. So, muscle testing is simple to accurately start to begin utilizing within your very own life to help guide you to the very, very, very greatest human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength that is humanly possible for you to actually and factually achieve. When you can muscle test accurately what exactly lives, exists, and breathes as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, and what exists, lives, and breathes as human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness within human beings and humanity during any still free breathing human situation, that accurate muscle testing can accurately measure the factually actual human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, or the human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness of the human situation being accurately, scientifically muscle tested by one human being simply holding one of their arms straight out to their side from their shoulder so that their arm is positioned parallel to the ground, and by one other human being positioned near enough to lightly press down on the outstretched wrist of the first person's outstretched arm that is being held parallel to the ground. When the time comes to actually do the scientific muscle test within double-blinded, empirically verifiable, and repeatable scientific standards of experimental measurement, and then to accurately muscle test all human beings who are presently involved with the accurate muscle test must focus and align all of their conscious being to the goal of only objectively measuring scientifically repeatable, verifiable, and empirical double-blinded muscle tests that accurately measure the strength of human situations that are healthy, freeing, pure truth, and strengthening, as well as the weakness of human situations that are unhealthy, illusionary, false, or weakening. And then to accurately muscle test, the first person holding their arm outstretched to their side and parallel to the ground simply makes a declarative statement that is stated as an absolute fact, while the exact same declarative statement is consciously held within all presently involved human beings also as an absolute fact. And then, to accurately muscle test, the other person signals in some way that the scientific muscle test measurement is about to occur. And then, to accurately muscle test, the other person simply presses lightly down on the first person's outstretched wrist, and then the first person's outstretched arm either holds strong to the truth of the statement of the declared absolute fact and remains parallel to the ground, or the first person's outstretched arm gives way to some degree or another and falls some towards the ground, so that it is then no longer absolutely parallel to the ground for the moment of the accurate muscle test. And then, to accurately muscle test, the same muscle test can be repeated on other human beings to show a repeatable proof of the muscle testing measurements accuracy throughout humanity as the universal human measurement tool for accurately, scientifically, empirically, verifiably, and repeatably measuring just exactly what lives, exists, and breathes within human beings and humanity as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, as well as just exactly what exists, lives, and breathes within human beings and humanity as human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness. And then, also, to accurately muscle test within double-blinded empirical scientific standards, you can write down a declarative statement of fact on a piece of paper, along with a written sentence below the declarative statement of fact that is designed to be accurately, scientifically, empirically, verifiably, repeatably measured within double-blinded empirical scientific standards, that simply states that the above sentence is factual, along with another piece of paper with the exact same declarative statement of fact that is being muscle tested, also with a written statement below the declared statement of fact that is designed to be accurately, scientifically, empirically, verifiably, repeatably measured within double-blinded empirical scientific standard, that simply states that the above sentence is false. And then, to accurately muscle test, you simply place the two above described, written on pieces of paper, into identical blank envelopes. And then, to accurately muscle test, you simply have human beings muscle test within empirical scientific standards the measured muscle strength and weakness measurements of each sealed envelope, while the declarative statement of fact remains absolutely unknown to the human beings who are involved in the muscle testing experiments. To assure that all meets the highest of empirical scientific standards for double-blinded scientific measurements, so as to absolutely assure the validity and repeatability of muscle testing, just exactly what lives, exists, and breathes as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, and just exactly what exists, lives, and breathes as human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness. And then, to accurately muscle test, you can accurately muscle test if muscle testing accurately is accurate muscle testing, just exactly what lives, exists, and breathes as human pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth, and just exactly what exists, lives, and breathes as human falsehood, illusion, and illusion, falsehood. And then, to accurately muscle test, you can accurately muscle test if muscle testing accurately is accurate muscle testing, just exactly what lives, exists, and breathes as human absolute freedom and whole pure truth, and just exactly what exists, lives, and breathes as human fractured illusion and partial pure truth within any still free breathing human situation. And then, to accurately muscle test, you can accurately muscle test if muscle testing accurately is accurate muscle testing, the declarative statement of fact that this spirit release about muscle testing is factual and accurate, as well as living, existing, and breathing as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength. Living as pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth. Living within absolute freedom and whole pure truth. And then, to accurately muscle test, you can write down the above declarative statement of absolute fact exactly as it is written onto two different pieces of paper, one with the additional sentence stating that the above sentence is factual, and one with the additional sentence stating that the above sentence is false. And then, accurately muscle test, if you can, then, to accurately muscle test, you can place the two above noted, written out pieces of paper into two identical blank envelopes, which you can then muscle test within double-blinded, repeatable, verifiable, empirical, scientific standards, the fact or falsehood of each statement within the blank sealed envelopes, so that you can, right here and right now, begin to start to scientifically muscle test for yourself and for your family and for your community and for your nation and for your planet and for our universe, for the creation of the very, very, very greatest human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, as well as the manifestation of the very, very, very least human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness that is humanly possible to achieve within absolute freedom and whole pure truth. And therefore, now be free by you right here and right now, writing out the above noted declarative statement of fact, along with the two additional sentences written below and all sealed into two identical blank envelopes that you then, right now, right here, stop your listening or reading of this spirit release about muscle testing, and right here and right now, start to accurately muscle test the truth, strength, and the falsehood, weakness of each envelope's written statement, so as to begin to accurately muscle test if the spirit release about muscle testing is human strength, truth, or human weakness, falsehood. As accurately muscle tested within double-blinded, empirical, repeatable, and verifiable scientific measurements and experimentation standards that match or exceed other modern scientific measurement and experiment standards that are currently the accepted standard of now, when the spirit release of John's and the all's and mine was spoken and written. For the all of health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, living as pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth, living within absolute freedom and whole pure truth, as the universal all of the individual spirit, and the individual all of the universal spirit, living as pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth, living within absolute freedom and whole pure truth, as health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, so as to, right here and right now, begin to start to begin, now being free, to accurately, scientifically muscle test how to gain the very, very, very greatest human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength, as well as how to gain the very, very least human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness that is humanly possible for you and your family and your community and your nation and your planet and our universe to achieve within absolute freedom and whole pure truth, living within pure truth, freedom, and free pure truth, living as human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength within human beings and humanity, so that you and all of humanity can now become able to accurately muscle test as you and all of humanity freely choose pure truth and freedom by right now and right here, starting to begin to start, now becoming able to muscle test accurately the human absolute enlightenment, freedom, and human whole utopia pure truth that is humanly possible and even probable to achieve while you are still free breathing. Free pure truth and pure true. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Again, to the second coming of our American and human Independence Day. That quite honestly can be created by you accurately muscle testing accurately. If this spirit release about muscle testing of John's is accurate or factual, or whether it's in any way human disease, illusion, falsehood, and weakness. Any little teeny tiny bit of it. So that you can understand how to create the American dream of the American way of liberty and justice for us all. Which is also manifesting the very, very, very greatest human health, freedom, pure truth, and strength. Living as free pure truth and pure truth freedom within absolute freedom and whole pure truth. Which is also the American and human creation of absolute human enlightenment freedom and whole human utopia pure truth. Living, existing, and breathing right here, right now, or at least soon to be, on our still free breathing planet Earth. God bless and the all bless America and us all. And again, to the second coming of our American and human Independence Day. Blessings to all.